All right, good morning, everyone. 10 a.m. book festival, people. Come on, give it up for yourselves. I was trying to think of the things that I would do at 10 a.m. Sleep and soccer. Those are the two things I've got covered. But when I found out what you were gathering here for today, I said I would do it at 6 a.m. Because this is exactly the place I want to be. Let me tell you why. Anyone here got a summer travel plan? You're going to do something, jump in the car, drive somewhere, get on an airplane. You're going somewhere right there? The family? Where are you going? Okay, I love it. So I got some travel plans. I'm going to start the morning by confessing something about myself. It's a little embarrassing, but I think you should know this. One of the first things I do when I go to any new city or town is I go right to the public library. You do that too? Where'd you go? Okay. You're coming with me on my next trip. It's a very weird thing to do. I have kids, and my kids say things like, let's find out who's got the best ice cream, I wonder if they have good Thai food here, right? My wife would be like, where's a good place to get a martini? She's got to travel with me, so she earned it. But I like to go to the public library. And let me tell you why. When you go to a new place and you see the library, what you learn right away is, what do the people in this place think of themselves? You heard I wrote this book with Aziz Ansari, Modern Romance. He has this very famous line from when he was in Parks and Recreation. Any young people know Aziz Ansari's famous line? Treat yourself, right? Treat yourself. So treat yourself. I won't do it in my Aziz voice because that would be very embarrassing. But when you go to a town and you go to the library, what you see is, to what extent are people here willing to treat themselves? Treat themselves to what? That's a good question. What are you treating yourself to when you build a library? Well, there's this old idea that the library is a place that has old books, and people sit around and they read the old books. And there's definitely a lot of reading that happens in libraries. And I'm a college professor, so I'm all for reading. And I could tell you 1,000 reasons why a library is a great place for getting literacy going with your youngest people, and with people who are learning a new language or who are learning to read later in life. All for literacy. But what a library represents is something much bigger than that. The way that I see it, the library is the best expression we have of what it means to live in a democratic society, what it means to participate in an open culture, what it means to be generous to each other, what it means to be decent and welcoming and dignifying of everyone around us. Libraries represent something that I will admit I took for granted as my birthright as an American. For all my life, I thought, public library, a place that celebrates books, a place that gives us access to our cultural heritage, a place that is available, accessible to everyone regardless of their race, their ethnicity, their social class, their age, their position, even their citizenship status. I thought, this is our birthright. And one reason why I would get here at 6 a.m., if you had invited me at 6 a.m., is because now, for the first time in my life, I no longer believe that that's true. I don't think I can take that for granted. I think if I take that kind of thing for granted, I'm going to lose it. What do I mean by that? Well, at one extreme, if you've been following the news recently, you know that there are communities across the country, in a lot of different places, that have decided to drum up a little war against the library. And they've done it in different ways. First of all, we're seeing the banning of books. We're seeing communities try to take books out of the library system and keep people from reading them. Oftentimes, those books are kind of silly books. Like, for instance, the book I wrote with Aziz Ansari has been banned in many places. we're part of we've been named in ACLU lawsuits. But most of the time, those books are lifeline books. Most of the time, those are books that help someone get a sense of who they are, and that they get a sense that they're part of something that's bigger than themselves, right? a library is a place where people can connect to their history, to their community. And that lifeline points us in a horizon away from despair and towards something that's more hopeful. So this book ban thing that's happening is extremely dangerous. I take it very seriously as a kind of assault on what it means to be in a country like America, in a democracy like ours. But there's something else going on which gets less attention, but for our story, and I think for your community, is even more dangerous. And it's a more subtle kind of assault, and it goes like this. I actually read this in Forbes magazine, this business magazine, a few years ago when I was working on my book. There was an economist professor at a school in New York, and he wrote this. He said, "The library is obsolete." He said, "The library is obsolete." He said, now that we live in the information age and everyone here is carrying a phone, you've got a machine in your pocket, you can get access to all this information you never could have gotten access to. And he said, now that we have this, we have Amazon, we have Google, right? We have Facebook, we have all this stuff, you don't need the library. And he said, in fact, show me the cost-benefit analysis that justifies a community's investment in the library. Show me that investment, show me that calculation, and unless I see it, I think we should knock down libraries, we should close them down across the country, and we should replace them with Amazon stores. Okay? By the way, I'm not kidding. I thought this was a joke at first. I was like, is this April 1st? No, it was not April 1st. It was not a joke. So, what happened? What happened when he wrote this? Here's what happened. The librarians of the world united, and they got on Twitter, which is a very dangerous place for librarians to be. Here's what they started to say. Did you know that libraries do more early literacy for young people than any other public institution outside of the school? Did you know that libraries provide more English as a second language education for people who are new to this country and need to learn English? Do you know that libraries do more citizenship training for people who come to this country and need a path to citizenship? Some of you might be aware that we put a lot of people in the criminal justice system in this country over the last few decades. Is that an issue that's ever come up here? I'm guessing it has. It's been a very big deal. My colleagues in the social sciences are really concerned about what it means to have millions of people cycle in and out of the criminal justice system. Well, you know what public institution does the most to help people when they get out of prison or off probation? Get job training, do job searches, get skills they need to be part of the 21st century workforce? The library. Do you know that there are library systems across this country that lend people clothing, outfits for job interviews if they don't have it? Yeah? Do you know that there are libraries that give people tools if they've got projects they need to build at home? You surely know that libraries provide Wi-Fi access to people who don't have home and internet service, and that's millions of people, right? You know they provide machines and tablets, music, film, periodicals. For older people, libraries are a connection to a community. I wrote in my book, this Palaces for the People book, I wrote about a program in a library in Brooklyn, and I hope when you get your lakefront library that you do this. It's called the Library Lanes program. Here's what they do. You probably have read that there are more older people in this country than ever before, and there are more people living alone in this country than ever before. You heard maybe I wrote a book about that. Well, one of the big risks for being old and being alone is that you get isolated. And so what they did in the Brooklyn library system is they started a program called Library Lanes. And Library Lanes takes an open room in the library, a common recreation room. They hook up a TV monitor to a video game system, and they put in a bowling game. They invite the older patrons of the library to participate in the bowling league, the virtual bowling league. They get bowling jerseys, right? Bowling shirts. Ever been on a bowling league over here? No? Okay, just wait. You got a good future ahead of you. And they invite people to come and join these teams at their branch libraries. And once a week, people throughout Brooklyn get together with other people in their situation. It's not like a sad senior citizen center which, doses out more sympathy and less friendship than it should. It's a lively, exciting